Using the TI84 to evaluate a recursive series. The formula for compound interest, which we studied earlier in the class, has us finding out the accumulated amount based on an initial investment, the interest rate, R, and the number of compounding periods per year. This is how often the interest is paid, and typically you would have quarterly, which is 4 times a year, or monthly, which is 12 times a year. And T is, of course, representing time. But usually when we have an investment, we're going to add money on a periodic basis, like we're going to add money every pay period. And this is a recursive sequence because the interest paid is always going to be based on the current amount. So for any number of investment periods N, the amount that you have is going to be given by this formula, 1 plus R over N times the previous balance plus P, where you have an initial amount of M, that's your initial deposit, R is going to be the interest rate, N is the number of compounding periods per year, and P is the amount that you put in each time. And then of course AN minus 1 is the previous balance. This can also be used for when you're paying off a loan with an initial balance B. This is also represented by a recursive sequence, and you can see that now instead of paying monthly, we're going to be subtracting the amount off the balance. So A0 is the initial balance, R is the interest rate, P is the amount you pay against the loan each time, and AN minus 1 is the previous balance. AN represents the current amount of the loan. So here's one of your my math lab problems that you had. Bob is putting $500 into a Roth IRA, and we need to find a recursive formula that represents his balance at the end of each quarter, okay, if the rate of return is 9% per year. So in this case, we're going to have A0 is going to equal $500, and the formula AN is going to equal 1 plus 0.09. It is quarterly compounding, so that's going to be over 4 times the previous balance plus 500. And now we're going to see how, so this is this formula here. So now we're going to see how we can enter that using the TI84. With the TI84, we're going to do the following. So when you turn your calculator on, what you're going to want to do is go to the Mode button and then scroll down to where it says Function, and scroll across to the Seek button. This will put you in the sequence mode. Hit Enter. Now we can go and set up our sequence. First of all, the N for the initial value is going to be N equals 0. Here we set up our recursive formula. So for this one, it's 1.0225 times, we'll use second shift, parentheses, N minus 1. So that's telling it to use the value from before, and we're adding $500 per month. And of course, U0, that's our initial amount, that's going to be $500. Now, the first thing we wanted to do is find out what it would be after 20 years. 20 years is 80 quarters, so we'll start our table at 80. That'll take us right to the point that we want to be at. We go to the table, takes a minute to calculate, and we can see that when we have gone out 20 years, 80 quarters, our amount is $112,524. To find out when the investment is over $200,000, you just have to scroll down, and this can take some time because the calculator is calculating based on the previous information. So we'll scroll down until we find 200,000, and we keep going, and we keep going. Should be coming up pretty soon. Okay, there we have it. After 103 quarters, we have the amount. And so this is the final answer. It'll be 103/4, and the value in 20 years, $112,524.